progress.
What up? What's good, family? I'm Trey, Fraser. I got my brother Maestro Styles here with me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Welcome to another episode of the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Send a special shout out to all of our Facebook Live viewers right now. Make sure y'all continue to tune in. Click the like button on the Facebook page. Also, you can follow us on our YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button. And on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. You can also follow us on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. Maestro, what's good, man? How we feeling?
Cooling, man. Super Bowl week, man. Super Bowl week. I guess we gotta get into the predictions and all that good shit.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. I guess we could do that a little later in the show. But there's a few things that I got on the list for the night that we could, rap about before the big game. But this falling out over the lawsuit by Brian Flores, lawsuit to the NFL for racism and the way they interview black coaches and the hiring process and all that stuff. So I guess when we last left off, nobody had kind of come forward and kind of co-signed with what Brian Flores was talking about. And then right after we, wrapped up the pod last week, Hugh Jackson came out and was talking about how the Cleveland Browns from, I think it was 2016 to 2018, when they had that, they had the 0-16 record, and then before that they had the 1-15 record, and then his third year was, I think they let him go like in the middle of the year, which I think was Baker's first year there. But he claimed that the Cleveland Browns offered him money to tank games as well. You and I were kind of going back.
He kind of backtracked on it though.
He did. Because we were kind of back and forth on Twitter about him possibly accepting money. But yeah, he backtracked on it. He was kind of doing his interview tour. He was on New York radio. He was on First Take last week, and he was on Ryan Clark's podcast with Channing Crowder and Fred Taylor.
Pivot podcast.
Yep. Shout out to them. But yeah, you alluded to it. He backtracked on the whole accepting money part of the deal there. So, your thoughts about at least with Hugh Jackson in the Cleveland Browns? I think I know where this is going, and I think you feel the same way I do.
Well, I don't feel, if I'm being honest with you, I don't feel no way about it. I mean, all he kind of did was, say some of the same things that Brian Flores was trying to say, that essentially that there isn't, we aren't really set up to succeed they aren't really set up to succeed as black coaches in the NFL. And just kind of more so built on that. I think the bigger thing that came from the conversation, at least from my vantage point, was the conversation that they had about Mike Tomlin specifically, where, he said he understood Mike Tomlin in the sense that, you're in a situation whereas either you keep your job or you try to, give opportunity to black coaches, and basically said that he felt like Tomlin should be, or unfortunately has to be kind of the guy who starts to give opportunities to black coaches, because of his track record. All these years, no losing seasons. He is at that time of that podcast was the single black coach in the league at the time. So it was like, he was kind of putting I don't want to say he was putting a target on his back because I don't think that was, but he definitely. I'm gonna tell you how it happened to me. I walked into work one day last week and somebody was like, "Yeah, so what you got to say about Mike Tomlin talk about Hugh Jackson talking shit about your coach?" And immediately I got into defense mode because I wasn't ready to hear that shit, and I hadn't seen the podcast.
Right.
But it was presented to me as if Hugh Jackson was talking shit about Mike Tomlin, and he wasn't. He was more so just making a point, which was a valid point.
Yeah.
After I went to go watch the podcast, that was more of a striking conversation than the totality of Hugh Jackson coming on and saying, Cleveland paid him to lose, and I think what he meant, for those who aren't aware, it was more like, basically they wouldn't put him in position to win.
Yeah.
So they was just paying him to lose. Not what it's not the same situation that Brian Flores is alleging where,
right.
I'm going to pay you something extra to to lose games.
And just to cut you for a minute, he made specifically clear that there were stipulations in his contract that he had no idea was there. So they were basically sort of paying him under the conditions of his contract to coach the team. So that's how he basically backtracked off of what he said initially about taking money for losing games.
Okay. Yeah, but I guess to kind of put a stamp on it, and a week later after the Brian Flores story was reported, you noticed the calm down. Have you noticed this?
And we knew that was
yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Well, I don't know that I knew that last week, and you know what I'm saying, because last week I was speaking about it possibly being as big or almost as big as the Colin Kaepernick story. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem like it's picking up that kind of steam.
I think because we're leading up to the Super Bowl, I think that's a part of why this is kind of calmed down. Because I think the league, in its best interest, they want everybody to focus on the big game coming up, and understandably so. The other half of it is, though, his lawyers were doing interview rounds. They were on New York radio doing interviews. They were national radio doing interviews, talking about their relationship. Because his lawyer, they used to go to school back in Brownsville, Brooklyn, back in the day together. So,
okay.
So, there's that connection. And I think once those interviews kind of died down, then the next thing you know, the teams that haven't found coaches yet, Miami got their guy, the Saints, got Dennis Allen, and Lovey Smith was promoted to head coach of the Texans. So I think all that stuff just kind of was the news at that point, was the rest of the openings in the NFL.
Do you take anything from It seems like teams right after Flores's lawsuit, it seemed like those other positions started to get filled quickly, and they started to get filled quickly by white coaches. Do you take anything from that at all outside of the norm?
No, because I think they would have filled it up even without this lawsuit. Just my opinion.
Okay.
And even
do you think it would have been filled up with white coaches? Is what I'm more getting at.
Basically, you're asking, would Lovey Smith be the head coach of the Houston Texans? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they were on this Josh McCown train that people have been talking about, and we know who Josh McCown is. The dude never coached in the NFL. He was a former player. He coached on a high school level. Never coached in the college or in the pros, and people was like, yo, these dudes really about to hire Josh McCown. And I think because they were one of the last few teams to find their head coach, they just went ahead and said, hey, you know what? Let's just save face. We got Lovey in the building right now. He knows our system. He knows what we're trying to do. Let's just go that route. And, let's just kind of nip it in the bud. Now, they're still saying that they want to add Josh McCown to the coaching staff, which is sort of a code word for he's waiting in the wings until they find whatever excuse to get rid of Lovey Smith. I could see that coming. But I think you were trying to say something. I hope I answered your question because it sounded like.
Oh no. Well, I was more so getting at. Lovey Smith was hired after it all happened, but Mike McDaniel, I believe his name is from San Fran, was hired.
McDonald, yep.
Dennis Allen was hired afterwards.
Yes.
It felt like, and it could just be me being, sensitive to the whole Brian Flores situation, but it seemed like those white coaches was hired pretty fast, and Lovey Smith was being promoted, but Lovey Smith is, Lovey Smith who was once in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So I guess I'm still maybe. It's all white coaches that's been hired, man. Oh, except for Lovey Smith. It's all white coaches.
And I like how people try to say, hey, Mike McDonald, he's interracial. And it's like, look, he don't look like me, okay? Cool. He got some black in him. That's cool.
And congratulations for you getting a job. And congratulations for him getting a job. I don't want it to seem like I'm hating on anybody getting a job, but it is still, the conversation is still about representation, and unfortunately, some white coaches or mixed coaches or however, but for me it ain't even about mixed coaches. It's about Spanish representation. It's about black representation. I mean, in some respects, Asian, and not even some, in all respects, Asian representation is about seeing different types of coaches, coaching teams. I think that's what it's about. Yeah. So, the fact that we're going into this year with only 2 black coaches, and then Robert, the Jets coaches, Miggs, Salah, and Muslim, then this Mike McDaniel, and then this Mike McDaniel, and then Ron Rivera. We got some, but
we got diversity. We got diversity. We got some.
Yeah, but it's not enough. In my book, and for what I think, the Rooney Rule was supposed to represent, even though it hasn't been executed that way. We don't have enough representation. In the NFL and on the sideline.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. But I mean, I think to kind of play devil's advocate for a minute here. Let's say the Dolphins did wait until after the Super Bowl. Maybe there's a coach on one of those 2 staffs that maybe they're eyeing, and then maybe they just say, you know what, we're not going to rush it. Maybe let's go get our guy until after the big game is done. So maybe you could look at it.
You talking about the Dolphins?
I'm talking about the Dolphins or anybody that didn't get their coach after the news of the lawsuit came down.
Oh, okay. I'm going to say the only vacancy left is the Vikings.
The Vikings have their coach.
Who they hire?
I forget. White dude. I forget the guy's name. I'm sure it'll come to me. But
you sure?
I'm positive. The Vikings got their guy. It's funny. I just had the list up of names and.
Yeah, I'm about to say, because I don't know who they hire. I don't know. Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Because I was getting ready to say the McDonald dude, but the McDonald dude went to.
He just got hired.
Yeah,
Miami.
He went to Miami, so it'll come to me at some point. But and speaking of the Vikings, that's a team that hired a black general manager, and I was cool with that, and that was all great, and then.
I thought that was Chicago, bruh. I swear that was Chicago that did that.
Chicago did it too. Ryan Poles,
right,
from the Chiefs. Yeah. The Bears did it too.
Okay.
So we got basically we got 2 black general managers, and we got 1.5. I guess you could say 1.5 black men.
Yeah, I guess we gotta respect. If he had black, you gotta respect it.
Yep. So I mean, that's where we're at. I wish that the Vikings and the Bears GMs would have went a similar route in picking the black coach, but that's another
Well,
story
in other positive black representation news, Louis Riddick interviewed with Pittsburgh for the GM job today. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, I thought he was a guy that should have been in the front office someplace after he had that Eagles job some years ago. I thought he should have been somewhere, man.
Well, I'm hoping that Pittsburgh go ahead and pull the trigger and pull. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, we just upgraded Terrell Austin from down in the ranks. I think he was I want to say he was a cornerback coach. I'm not 100% sure, but he's the new defensive coordinator in Pittsburgh. So for all the criticism, Tomlin has officially hired his first black coach in the coordinator role. So there you go.
Right. Kevin O'Connell is the Vikings head coach.
Probably why I didn't read that, because that name doesn't even sound familiar.
Kevin O'Connell is on the Rams coaching staff, if I'm not mistaken. So he's still working. He's still working. So
gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
So, but speaking of, I guess you kind of went into what Pittsburgh's been going on there. It looks like the AFC North, or at least half of the AFC North, is going through some changes also. So we got rid of Wink Martindale, and we got what's his name from Michigan, who used to work for under his brother Jim to run our defense.
I'm not okay that he got a job that fast either.
Who's that?
I'm
Martindale?
sorry.
Wink?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
the Giants, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well...
He got a job fast as hell.
Yeah, I mean...
I'm not saying it because...
Right?
Yeah, lateral movement, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get promoted or anything, so... But, yeah, I mean, he did get that pretty quick. I ain't gonna front.
Yeah.
He got that
he got there pretty quick.
Yeah. So we've had some changes, with the staff and all that. Everybody wants Greg Roman up out of here. I'll be honest with you. If they let him go, they let him go. It is what it is. But for the sake of Lamar Jackson, I think you hold on to Greg Roman one more time, and and see how this year pans out. Really? Yeah, I think you. Okay. I think you do like you did years ago when you had Cam Cameron as the offensive coordinator. Because everybody, those first couple years was hammering on Cam, and that one year that we went to the Super Bowl and won it was the year that we cut him right after we lost to RG3 in the game that RG3 got his knee hit. We fired Cam Cameron, and then that's when Jim Caldwell took over. So so I could see a situation like that happen for Greg Roman if this offense this coming year doesn't, get back to that, that 2019 form. Okay. Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at with that, bro. So, your girl, Angela Rye, is now a part of ESPN. I don't know if you've heard.
I haven't heard.
But
I ain't gonna hold you. I can't remember. I haven't. There was there was a point in time, maybe 3 years ago, where she was everywhere, and I just stopped hearing about her. Mm-hmm. And I did wonder a little while, like, what happened to Angela Rye? So what is she doing on ESPN?
She is a special correspondent. So
like she got an official job there.
Yeah, she's hired by ESPN. Yes. Wow. So my reaction to it was, well, they had someone like Angela Rye once upon a time, and that was Jemele Hill. So,
I don't like that comparison.
Why not?
I don't know Angela Rye's sports history. I know Jemele Hill's sports history is well documented.
Let me clarify, because I wasn't speaking as a comparison from a sports standpoint. It was more so the fact that Jemele Hill, who talked about politics a lot while she was on that network. You remember the thing she said about Donald Trump, the thing that ultimately, got
That wasn't
her.
on ESPN though.
What's that?
That wasn't on ESPN though. Like
Well,
that was on Twitter.
That particular thing wasn't, but she was on ESPN's books when that did happen, and I get that she was on Twitter when she said that. But for the most part, people classified Jemele Hill as the one on ESPN that was the one that was gonna, talk that talk. You know what I'm saying? When it came to sports, when it came to politics and things like that.
Yeah, I don't think that. I hear you.
I put Angela Rye just in the political realm. I know she doesn't talk sports, but just in the political realm and how, quote unquote, loud. I'm a quote loud because I don't mean that she's like this loud, obnoxious, female. I say that to say that they're gonna make the room uncomfortable, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Jemele Hill, when she was on ESPN, she made the room uncomfortable. And Angela Rye...
Did she?
Huh?
Did she?
Yeah. She definitely did.
Yeah.
She definitely did.
I don't see it your way at all.
That's cool. But I think...
I don't... Go ahead, I'm sorry. Finish your thought.
No, I was just going to say that's cool if you don't see it that way. But I think... Again, that was just my initial reaction after hearing that she got hired by ESPN, because she was on First Take a couple of days last week, right after the Brian Flores news. They brought her on to talk
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they brought her on the set to talk about what it means for the league and how that relates to Black History Month and kind of trying to put a little twist on that. And then that was just my reaction was that, oh, well, if they brought her on to be a correspondent and basically kind of like what the Undefeated does, right? Because they write stories and articles about, Black History Month, things that are part of the Black culture, things like that. I'm like, wait, they had Jemele Hill. Not that I'm saying Jemele Hill should come back. Not that I'm saying that the network regretted, letting her walk. I'm just, again, that was just my initial reaction. But, shout out to Angela Rye, for, getting the gig.
Well, I can give you my reaction right off rip. I don't like it. I think she's going to be underutilized because she don't talk enough about sports, and ESPN is not going to want to talk that much about politics. I mean, that was the reason why Jemele Hill was fired, because of her political, even though it wasn't on network, her political stance is what got her dismissed from ESPN. Mm-hmm. Angela Rye is going to want to get on there and really talk the talk.
Yep.
And there's no way that I believe that ESPN is going to let her get on there and talk her talk the way she want to talk her talk. Mm-hmm. And she's not going to have much of an opinion on the sports side of it, if any opinion on the sports side of it. I don't know her sports background, but I know it ain't extensive that of Jemele Hill, and I guess it don't necessarily have to be that extensive.
Right.
But you do expect her to be able to talk some sports on a sports network. So either she's going to be underutilized because it ain't that many political topics, or she just going to be that face that can every now and then throw the political side on it. She's more a political person than Jemele Hill, but not the sports person that Jemele Hill is. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, congratulations, let me say that, on getting a bag, whatever bag that is that ESPN gave her. Mm-hmm. But I mean, for me, I don't even think that's a good marriage. I mean, you're only going to bring her on the way I see it, and I could be wrong because I don't know her background.
Yep.
But I only see her coming on when shit like this happened. Brian Flores happened, when shit like, what I'm saying? Yep. And it's going to be cool to see her like, oh, that's Angela Rye, that's what's up. But it's not like I'm gonna see her being. I don't see her being on a ESPN show every day. I don't see her. Right. It's going to be kind of that floating thing when these types of things happen.
Yeah, like once a week or something.
I mean,
like that.
I don't even know. I don't even know if it'll be that often, because I don't know how many legal things or political things happen weekly that ESPN really want to get into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, you might be right. and I think this climate is different than the climate when Jamel was there. You know, what she been? What, 3 years now? It's been what, 3-4 years since she's been away from
Something
ESPN.
like that.
Yeah, so I do definitely think the climate is different now than it was when Jamel Hill was still there. I do agree with you that the whole thing with her in sports, there's certainly, question marks about how much knowledge she has about it. I do think this. I think the undefeated. I think that's sort of a space where she's going to be mostly utilized at.
When you saw her on ESPN last week, I ain't mean to cut you off. What she was on first. She was on First Take last week. You said on with the Brian Flores. So essentially, she came on there and talked about Brian Flores and got a ball for there. Yes. Is that correct?
It was just about the Brian Flores stuff and about the legal stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
That seems like that's what it's going to be for me. So it's like I mean, by all means, get your bag, and if that's what they're gonna bring you on for, by all means, then that's the capacity she's gonna be used in. But I think I still feel that she would probably be underutilized, being that she's a professional at broadcasting. I don't think a sports broadcasting platform is her bag, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
I think that the undefeated platform where writers get in there and they do their articles and all those things, I think she's going to be more on that platform than she is on a First Take or Get Up or any one of those ESPN shows. Because the undefeated.
But what's her writing background? And I'm asking because I don't know. What's her writing background?
Her writing background. See, that's the thing. I'm not so certain about the writing background per se. I can only just relate it to the number of times I see her on CNN, the number of times she's on like MSNBC, those political network platforms is what I'm solely kind of, basing this off of, without knowing whether she has any kind of writing, or not. I don't know if she considers herself a journalist or not. That's the thing for me, is I don't know what she considers herself. Prior to her signing up with ESPN, but I'm sure they're gonna find a place for her. I'm sure they're gonna find
or not. We know history wise, ESPN has a strong flaw in not spreading out the work evenly. So I mean, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that they're going to find something for her. Like I said, congratulations if that's the bag she wanted and she got it. Congratulations to her. But that don't sound like a good marriage to me. Just don't face value.
There's a reason they got her.
Sure, but
I'm interested to find out.
What's the reason?
I'm interested to find out though.
I'm not. I'll be.
I guess
I'll be glad to see her. I'm not, but I'll be glad to see her if I pop on the TV and see her on Instagram. Oh, that's what's up. But I'd be lying to you. I ain't interested to see her on ESPN. I'm just not.
Right. Well, then look. So I gotta reshuffle my top 5 ESPN females. I gotta shuffle that list now. Now that Angela Rye is part of the network. So she in my top 5.
Here.
And
of course,
I like Monica McNutt, but I got to get her out the top 5 for Angela Rye. I'm sorry.
So what's your 5?
It's still Molly.
I don't even know who the fuck that now.
It's Molly. It's still Cassidy Hubbard, Malika Andrews, Kimberly Martin, and now Angela Rye. Let's hear it, Maestro. Let's hear it.
Nah. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I don't know who the fuck is at ESPN, Trey. I know Cassidy's still there, so Cassidy's number 1 for me. Molly's number 2. Angela Rye is number 3 for me. Matter of fact, Cassidy, Angela Rye, Molly. I can't tell you what Kimberly Martin looked like. No disrespect. I see you tweet her a lot.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what she looked like. Monica McNutt is from PG County. She gets there on general principle, and I gotta put Malika because I know what Malika looks like.
So no L. Duncan.
Nah, and no Kimberly Martin because I just can't tell you. I couldn't tell
Okay.
you what Kimberly Martin
I
looks
can
like.
understand you not putting Kimberly there, but L Duncan, because I know you've
Yeah,
been slightly high on her in the past.
I like her. But I find that I like her personality, and I guess ideally that should be enough. But I'm vain,
Mm.
so no,
All right,
so no, she's off the top five.
all right, all right, all right.
Respectfully, because I think she dope. I think she dope from what I see her
She
on.
seemed like
Like
she
I seen
cool.
her.
She seemed like she a cool
Yeah,
person to hang around. That's cool. That's
not
cool.
like they thinking about me no way. So
Of course, of course. We just do this for fun. So the football team, man. I don't like the new name, bro. I don't like it. I
Yeah,
wasn't going to anyway because I said if
right.
it's not going to be Red Tails, then whatever they picked, it just wasn't going to be that for me.
I will say this though. I like that black jersey, man.
Why? Because it looked
I
like
like that
Pittsburgh.
black jersey.
Because it looked like
No, I
Pittsburgh.
just like the black jersey. It don't
Okay.
look like Pittsburgh to me at all.
Oh, okay.
But
'Cause, you'd be surprised how many people kept comparing it to the Steelers jersey.
yeah, I don't think it look like Pittsburgh jersey at all.
Mm, okay.
Cause it's a black. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, no. I just
Okay.
like the jersey.
Okay. All right. Just letting you know what people been
Mm.
saying about it, but
Yeah, I
um,
haven't heard that, but I haven't been looking either. But I'll say this.
mhm.
I'll say this about the name. And it's like you know, I was alive when the Bullets were changed from the Bullets to the Wizards, and everybody hated it, and they hated the jerseys, and they hated the colors. And you know what? They eventually got over it. Much is the same with this situation. The Commanders is a trash ass name. I agree 100%. But you know what? Give it about a year, 2 years. We'll all be saying the Commanders like it was never the
The
Redskins or never the
Cowboys
football
versus
team for that
the
matter.
Cowboys Commanders rival. Like that don't even like yeah, I get it. It's got to take some time, but that don't even
It's
ring
going to
right now.
yeah, it's going yeah, it's just going to happen. It's what it is. I tell you what, I have seen the Twitter theorists, the conspiracy theorists on Twitter.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked up the definition of commanders?
I've never looked up the definition.
Let me look at it. Let me Google
And
it
I'll
for
be
you.
honest with you, I'm not even sure I want to for real.
Uh,
I'm not even sure I want to,
um,
man.
look, I'm just taking me a second.
Yeah, I'm
Commanders.
looking it up too. Okay.
Yep.
A person in authority, especially over a body of troops or a military operation.
That's not the one I was. That's not the one I saw.
Mm,
I'm trying to. It
yeah.
gets it get in short. It gets racist. In short, it has
Yeah.
racial undertones.
Yeah.
In short,
Yeah.
um,
That
I'm trying to find it.
reading what I just read, I immediately just thought, okay, this has something to do
Oh
with
yeah,
someone
well,
being mistreated.
military
Yeah.
military kind of gets rid of racial for me. But there was a definition that I saw, that was it had a real racial undertone,
So they went
and I didn't
from
care
one
for it.
racial
And it
thing to
seemed
another.
like right, that was my point. That
Yeah.
was my point. It was like, oh, so you don't want us to, right? So if we can't represent the oppressed, we'll represent the oppressor. And people were talking about, that being a
Yeah.
1 point for Dan Snyder.
Yeah. Uh, You know what? Forget them niggas, man. that's,
Hey, I'm not a fan, so
that's where I'm with. That's where I'm at with it, bro.
I'm not
Uh,
a fan, so my feelings ain't hurt.
yeah. Nah, I hear you, bro. But they had the team store open. They had like the ribbon cutting, for the
Yeah,
merchandise and all that. And
you gotta roll it out.
oh,
You gotta roll it out.
Danny Boy was up there taking photo ops and all this stuff. Like nigga, ain't you supposed to be like behind the scenes or something? Ain't your wife supposed to be running the team? Like, why you up there, man? Like, you know what I'm saying?
What's more interesting to me is that he can do it, and I get security is there and all those types of things, but
Hmm.
he can get there and there not be an incident.
Yeah. I mean
That's
that's
it. That's interesting to me.
yeah.
Not necessarily a physical incident, but at least a verbal incident where it's like, yo, like the
Hmm.
fuck,
Right.
you've been out here tripping.
Right. Right. Hey, just a quick shout out to Mocha Bella in the Facebook live chat. Also, X
What's
Squad.
happening?
radio online station. Checking in. What's good, everybody? Appreciate y'all. Back to the football team. So they had this congressional hearing last week, a day after they announced a new name. And I didn't get a chance to watch any of it. I'm just be 100% honest.
I had no interest to watch it, to be even more honest.
But I will say this. I've heard that there were new allegations that were brought to that congressional table. I'm not sure if these are new women that didn't come forward the first time, women that weren't named in the Washington Post article from a year ago. But it's just funny how the league just keeps, wanting to put a bow on this thing. And, I don't know. And,
Not funny to me.
And I hope that the women can, get some kind of, justice out of it, meaning, hey, get the league to come speak out about it. Get them to at least say something. But it doesn't look like it's going to be that way. It's just going to be business as usual. We got a Super Bowl. We got a Super Bowl to, play here and coming Sunday here. So we not gonna talk about that. That's the vibes. That's the vibes I'm getting, from that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, it was one of the quietest announcements of a hearing. I promise you, I had no. Outside of you telling me, I didn't know it was happening. I didn't know where I could see it. I don't know what the results were from it. I don't know nothing about nothing. It seems like they just whatever.
Definitely kept quiet. I will say that.
Yeah,
I will say that.
That's not on accident.
I first heard about it on Channel 9 in DC's Twitter account. One of their anchors promoted it, and it was supposed to be an online viewing of the congressional. I don't know what website that was, and at this point, I'm not gonna search for it, but that's where I first heard about it. And then when you kind of type in the search box for WFT Congress, not a lot of folks were commenting on it. Not a lot of people were promoting this, except for the people that really were involved with it, or the people, or the very few DC media that was covering it last week. So, there's that. Did you hear?
I hope they find closure.
I hope so too. I
the women. I mean,
let me see. Yeah, I get you. I hope that they find some kind of closure. But hey, man, for me, it's still hashtag sell the team. It's hashtag release the report for me. So
yeah, but he don't got to do it. He ain't gonna do it, and he ain't gonna sell the team.
Nope. And his cronies ain't gonna do it for him either. So
nope.
That's what it is. Hey, did you hear about Leslie Jones being told by NBC that she can't live tweet the Olympics anymore?
No, I saw that she was trending or something for some reason, but I never got into why.
Yeah, so
she can't live tweet about the Olympics.
She can't live tweet about the Olympics. So I did a little bit of research, and I was looking at her Twitter page, and for real, she is literally live tweeting about all the events at the Olympics, like live. Like it's as if she's doing commentary play-by-play while she's recording this, on her Twitter feed. So I guess NBC was like, look, you're going to have to stop this, whatever. And I guess from their perspective, they don't like the fact that she's getting traffic on her side because, people are watching the Olympics. Or I shouldn't say most people. I think folks are taking interest in what she's saying about the Olympics. That's what's driving people to watch it. Otherwise, if because Leslie Jones is unfiltered, so that's gonna be like that all day. But NBC came in and was like, you got to stop doing this, whatever. And she wasn't happy about it, but she gonna do what she gonna do.
Okay, maybe I'm lost on why they told her to stop. Why?
Why they told her to
I'm
stop?
not regist. Yeah, I'm not registering why.
So I didn't see this as an explanation, but my thinking is that um, I think people are taking more of a liking to her commentating about the Olympics than people are watching it on NBC
Oh,
on
okay.
their own
Okay, I did.
televisions.
Got you.
I,
Okay.
I think that's why NBC came in and said that to her.
So what they think, but when she stops tweeting, that they're going to all of a sudden be interested in actually watching it on TV?
That's what they think, but I don't think that's the case because Leslie Jones. And look, I am not an Olympics person. I don't care to watch the Olympics. I don't give a damn about the Olympics.
Nope.
I don't care. Even as a basketball fan, and I know they
Yep.
they play overseas and all that. I don't even care about that.
And the winter they do?
When are they gonna? I don't think they're gonna play this. It's Winter Olympics, so I don't think they're gonna play.
Oh no. I thought you were saying that they play in the Winter Olympics too. And I was about to say I never
Oh
heard
no,
that.
no. I was just saying,
okay.
as a basketball fan, when they normally have the Olympics
when
in
they
the
play
summer,
in the summer.
I don't
you.
care. I don't care.
Yeah, like I might catch a game or two, but I'm definitely not like, yo, when is USA playing Belgium? Like I ain't never doing no shit like that.
Nah. But Leslie Jones, it appears people have taken a liking to how Leslie Jones is doing play-by-play on Twitter of the Olympics, and NBC ain't feeling that.
Well, let me be clear. NBC don't own fucking Leslie Jones' Twitter, so did she stop?
That I don't know. I kind of stopped.
Yeah, because what the fuck? You don't own my.
That.
You don't own. You don't. I mean, you don't own my fucking Twitter. Like, Who are you to tell me, what the fuck I do with my Twitter? Do they hire? Do they employ her?
No. And it's funny
so
because
who the fuck are you?
It's funny because at first I thought at first the video that she took on Twitter, I thought she was at the Olympics doing play-by-play and doing all the cussing and stuff. And I was like, oh snap! Like she really going in on the broadcast at first, but then I realized she was watching it at home. She was taking a video of herself watching it at home in her own house. So yeah,
man, NBC
You're right. They don't own her.
Who are they?
They don't own her.
They don't own her. They don't own her fucking social handle. Mm-hmm. And unless she like, what could she have possibly said that was so damning to NBC or to the Olympics that they don't want her to talk about it?
Right.
And even if they did, man, fuck you. You don't own my shit. I do what I want to do.
Yeah, I think it's more about the traffic than it is about what she's saying.
Man, but hello, you might actually get a few people to watch the Olympics based off of what the fuck she's saying.
Yeah, right. Hey, man.
People ain't gonna say, oh, people who were watching the Olympics aren't gonna be like, man, you know what? I'm gonna stop watching the Olympics because Leslie Jones' tweets are fire. Like, how does that even logically make sense?
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Fuck NBC.
NBC some frauds, bro. Just trying to
fuck NBC.
Flex their muscle, man.
And I would really hope that Leslie Jones would not stop doing what she's doing on their account. I don't know what her business dealings are, but I would certainly hope that she would be allowed to still. Yeah, I'm just concerned on what her business. I want to know what her business dealings are because how could you why would they even feel like the gall of them, the audacity of them to feel like they could tell somebody, hey, you can't tweet about us no more.
Unless they gave her a bag to not say nothing anymore, which I doubt, but you never know with these companies. You just never know.
Yeah, that's that. I don't like that. I don't like it.
Hey, so I heard that this Colin Kaepernick documentary is coming out that's going to be produced by Spike Lee. Jamel Hill's going to be a part of it, and a couple other people I forgot. So, shout out to Kaepernick and Spike Lee and Jamel Hill for,
Shout out to them.
linking together and getting that popping off. So that's something I'm looking forward to seeing. And I actually got to watch the first Kaepernick documentary that Kaepernick produced. I still haven't yet to watch that.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. The one on Netflix?
The one on Netflix, yep.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet neither.
Yep. Stephen A. Smith versus Tiki Barber. Have you seen this trending?
Man, you've been digging for stories. Hey, bro, you've been digging for stories this week. You've been digging for stories this week.
Man, ain't no football, man. I mean, the Super Bowl, but it's one game, bro. The season.
Because you've been fucking digging. You ain't even got the NBA free agents. I mean, NBA trade deadline talk yet.
I'm gonna cover that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, bro. The way you digging up stories and I'm just like, God damn, Stephen A. versus Tiki Barber. Not even versus KD.
Stephen A. Smith versus. I mean, if you want to talk KD versus Stephen A., we could talk that too. But so this is how this started. So Stephen A. said something about the Giants on First Take, and obviously this is about the Brian Flores lawsuit, right? This is about him interviewing or about to interview with the Giants before the whole Belichick text thing, came about, right? And so Stephen A. was alluding to the Giants and saying, look, y'all have never had a black coach in the history of y'all franchise, and that appears to be something, it has the perception of you guys being racist, whatever.
Sure.
And I'm kind of paraphrasing what Stephen A. said on First Take, but that's basically what he was alluding to in regards to the lawsuit and in regards to the Giants and stuff. So So Tiki Barber, I sometimes listen to his show in the morning on the Fan in New York sometimes, right? So there was an episode last week where someone called in and was basically trying to get Tiki to basically talk bad about the Giants, right? And Tiki didn't fall for it. He basically was like, nah, like you can't, you're not going to get me to, say nothing bad about them. And, from Tiki's perspective, I understand, like, the way he feels about the Giants. I mean, he's, if not arguably the best running back in the history of that team. So, of course he's going to stick up for the Maras and for anybody else in that front office. But, homeboy, like, he was shedding tears over the radio because he started telling this story about how the owner, did all this for him and like, they invited him to their dad's funeral or something like that, and he started getting like real emotional and stuff. And next thing you know, on my timeline, everybody's pulling up the Django memes and stuff with DiCaprio and Samuel L. Jackson saying Tiki was cooning over the airwaves, whatever. But getting back to that, so Tiki Barber basically, he didn't call out Stephen A. Smith, but he was basically saying, how could anybody, or how could people like Stephen A. Smith say, these things about the Giants, saying that they racist and, they have this culture and all that stuff, whatever. So, and I guess Stephen A. got a wind of that. And so yesterday's episode, at the end of the episode, Stephen A. basically said, yo, he went Fat Joe on him. He was like, yo, Tiki, you don't know who I know. I know some people in that Giants organization, and I know a lot of things about you that I'm not going to, put out there on the air because I'm, I got too much respect, whatever. And so he basically was like, yo, watch yourself, stay in your lane, and that's all I got to say about it. That's basically what Stephen A. said at the end of First Take yesterday.
Okay, but let me stop you for a second. So,
you,
to your account, you don't feel like Tiki Barber said anything to call out Stephen A. Smith?
No, I don't feel that way. I think Tiki was, because he also mentioned Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, because apparently Kareem was on CNN talking about the Giants, and Kareem had an opinion that he thought there were some people that worked in the upper office in there that were racist. And Tiki was like, wait, you're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like, what affiliation do you have with the Giants? And I kind of agree with him in a sense. Like, when you think of Kareem, you're not thinking about New York sports, period. So I'm saying I can understand him reacting to Kareem in that way because you don't think about New York sports when you think about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now, does that mean he doesn't know people that work there? No, it doesn't mean that. I'm just saying.
But it damn sure mean, but you ain't gotta. Okay, I guess what I'm getting at is that you ain't gotta have affiliations to have an opinion. You can just look from. You can be on the outside looking in and feel like, oh, like
Sure.
for instance, outside of you being from New York, you don't have any affiliations to the New York Giants. I mean, for me, you are the one that started the narrative. Just to me, not obvious to me,
Right.
That narrative of them having a racist office, because you was the first person that made me realize they've never drafted a black quarterback, never had a black quarterback, never had black head coach. You brought those things to my attention. I never would have realized it if had you not said it to me.
Right.
So, you can see that and have an opinion without having any ties. So does Tiki Barber have a right to criticize you because you don't have ties to the New York Giants?
I would. Let me put it this way. Yes. In addition to that, I understand from his perspective. He played for this franchise. He knows these folks better than Kareem knows these folks. I don't think that's crazy to say that if we're talking about Tiki versus Kareem. Tiki
I'm just
knows
talking about
them better
Tiki
than
Barber saying. I'm just saying Tiki having the opinion that other people who don't know the Giants don't know the Giants organization aren't allowed to have an opinion, and I get why that's a taboo thing to say.
Right.
But in all reality, everybody, what's the saying? Opinions are like assholes. Everybody got one.
Of course.
Of
course.
Is, yeah. I'm allowed to have an opinion.
Right.
And based on that fact that they don't hire black coaches, they haven't drafted black quarterbacks or had black quarterbacks up to Geno Smith. That's a reason. That's a reason to make an assessment, whether right or wrong. Whether right or wrong, that's a right to have an assessment. I get that Tiki Barber feels emotion, and the Murs have done things for him that he will never forget and always be grateful for. But you're being a little in my opinion, Tiki Barber's being a little sensitive. Look, man,
and he shouldn't have had that crying spell on the air. He
and especially in a time, that makes him look even crazier. But especially in a time where we're talking about Brian Flores and we're talking about the Giants, who clearly had made their decision and it was about to and essentially wasted a black man's time. Because you had already hired who you already knew you were going to hire. You wasted my time because of the Rooney Rule. I get why they did it, but I'm just saying you wasted my time. You wasted my time. So in a time where we're talking about black people getting a shot, and the organization you play for is that directly in the fire of not giving a black man a shot. You've been a little sensitive, bro. You gotta hold that. I'm not.
Combine that with the history of not having a black coach and not having a black quarterback for so many years before Geno started. You combine all those things, people on the outside are going to look at y'all and say, "Yo, like what's going on?" Like,
you seem a little sensitive, and you seem a little and. I don't throw the coon word around, but it kind of applies. You seem. I'm not saying he is or ain't.
When
you seem a little coonish, caping for that white man when the conversation is about black men getting jobs. That's a fair assessment. Whether right or wrong, it's a fair assessment. And at the end of the day, life ain't fair, so I ain't even really got to be fair to you. That's a fair fucking assessment.
It's a fair assessment, but I don't blame Tiki for reacting the way he reacted towards what Kareem had to say. I don't blame him necessarily for that, but Kareem is entitled to his opinion from the outside looking in, as well as Stephen A. Smith, regardless of whether he knows people that works in the Giants, which I'm sure he does because he has a connection to New York. So I would think that he knows people there. It's just outside assessments.
And to be honest with you even more, Trey.
Yep.
I would venture that a legend like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar knows some people in the New York Giants organization. I'm willing to go out on a limb and say that he knows.
It's definitely out on a limb for certain because and I'll say it again. I don't think of New York sports when it comes to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if he knew some people within that organization. It wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Not in the slightest.
In this day and age where you have access to social media and all kinds of people and connections that you can make between different sports and things like that. Like in this day and age. You never know. You never know.
I'm not gonna hold you, bro. I mean, Tiki Barber being a little sensitive about Kareem and about Stephen A. But
that I agree with. Stephen A. I'll say this: Stephen A. He basically threatened Tiki Barber with what he said at the end of the show yesterday.
I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say a threat, but I hear you.
I mean, you basically telling a man, "Hey, watch yourself. I know some things about you that I
I don't consider those to be threats. It's like, yo, chill.
Sure. Not physical threats. Not physical.
It's
threats.
me. It's me. I'm Stephen A. Chill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that. And for real, has Tiki Barber responded since then?
I know he responded this morning, but
okay.
He basically he took the high road. Basically, he just said,
right.
Stephen A. He just basically said Stephen A. is one of the few black journalists, prominent journalists,
right,
in this country.
So you shouldn't have opened your fucking mouth in the first place. Chill. Stop being emotional. Stop being emotional.
But he shouldn't have cried on air like that.
He shouldn't have said nothing.
I heard that.
He shouldn't have said nothing.
But when you say he shouldn't have said nothing, you're saying what?
Meaning he shouldn't have said nothing, criticizing people who are critiquing the New York Giants for what they just did, and shamming fucking Brian Flores. No, you should chill. I don't give a fuck about how you feel about the Maras. This ain't the time to be caping for the Maras when the Giants organization did what they just did. This ain't the time for that. Stop being emotional. This ain't the time for that.
He got too many ties to that team. That's why he got.
This ain't the time for that. So. And this ain't the time for that. You should have been like at the end of the day. Yes, I'm glad the Maras helped you and they are responsible for your career and maybe your life, not your soul life, but a part of your life. I get that. Part of his life, but right now, right now. Nah, Slim. Nah, you out of pocket, and you shouldn't have got on the TV or got on media, got on air, and been all crying and trying to call out Stephen A. Smith and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
The story was
chill. He was out of pocket.
The personal story to me, it wasn't necessary.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Has nothing to do with what they're doing right now. Because the fact of the matter is, is that when Tiki Barber was a player, he didn't have a black quarterback nor a black head coach representing him. What are we talking about?
I will say
what are we talking about?
I will say this: Jerry Reese was general manager for about 10 years. I'll give him that. Other than that, it looks suspect when you don't have a black head coach in your history. Like that looks suspect to me.
Hey man,
I'm not gonna call them. I'm not calling the Maras racist.
Yeah, I'm not at all.
Right.
Not at all.
I'm not calling them racist, but when you've had over 100 years of being that franchise,
yes, I am.
And you never hired a black coach and never had a black quarterback until Geno just a few years ago. Hey, from the outside looking in,
I kind of am calling them racist. If not racist in their heart, at least system,
Systemic.
taking a part of the
Systemic.
system.
Yeah. I'm cool
at
with
least that.
Yeah, that I'm cool
So
with.
yes.
That I'm
So I
cool
guess
with.
I am calling them racist. Everyone, every single owner, the Rooney's included, every single one of them, if not in their heart, then by system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot to mention this when we were talking about the coaches, but and you know, and I don't like what the Jaguars did with Byron Leftwich. I don't like how they, you know, messed that situation up. But they eventually got Doug Peterson to coach the football team. I'll say this about this particular hiring, and I'm not shaming the Jaguars because of it's Doug Peterson. I'm shaming the Jaguars because they messed up getting the guy that used to play for them for so many years. Arguably a top 5 Jaguar in the history of that team. You botched an opportunity to hire a once upon a time face of your franchise at the head coaching position. All because you want to keep a general manager that's been firing head coaches the last 4 years he's been a general manager.
The boys club, man.
Like that's just.
I mean, I don't. The boys club, man. I would love
Khan
to.
is a dumbass. I'm gonna just say it right here. Shad Khan is a dumbass.
Boys club, man. I hear that you're calling him a dumbass because you wanted to see your black representation, but
it makes
boys
sense.
club, man.
It's beyond that.
It's
beyond that. It made sense. The nostalgia. The dude played for your team. He's been a coordinator. He's been a successful coordinator. Like
I promise you, but
he checks all
I
the
hear
boxes. He checks all the boxes.
I hear you, but all that nostalgia goes out the window if the Jaguars have a winning season this year.
Sure.
So I hear you.
Sure.
But all that
and that's the only way it goes out the window. That's the only way it goes out the window. Yeah.
But that is what can happen. So it's like it's cool to say nostalgia and all those things, but they would be just as right in hiring Doug Peterson as they could have been in hiring Byron Leftwich if this Jaguars team is a winning. You know, so it's like no. It's at the end of the day, the boys club is going to do what they do inside of their club, and Byron Leftwich, unfortunately, is not a part of that them plans. So
and again, no
respect.
shade on Doug Peterson. He won a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback. I have no problems with Doug Peterson on a personal level. It's just the Jaguars had somebody right there in their hands, and they kind of botched it. But you're right. They have to, if they get a winning season, then all that goes away.
Yeah, I don't want to fire my GM. I want to roll with my GM. I mean, and I don't like it, but it just is what it is. I mean, again, I respect Byron Leftwich for just saying, you know what, I'm in a good situation right now. I ain't gotta subject myself to that bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. But good for Byron Leftwich on that. No doubt. Hey, let's transition, man. NBA trade deadline. It's been some weird stuff today, bruh. So the Kings made a trade with the Pacers, I think.
Yep.
And they traded Halliburton, their point guard. I think drafted last year, I think, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So they traded him to Indiana, and they sent back to the Kings Sabonis. They sent back Miles Turner and a couple other players. And I think the Kings
Miles Turner? You sure Miles Turner went?
I thought Miles Turner went with them.
No, I don't think Miles Turner went. I know Sabonis went for sure.
Okay.
I don't think. But I'm sure Miles Turner went. I mean, I'm sorry, Sabonis went.
Sabonis
hold on.
Okay. Yeah.
You keep talking. I ain't mean hold on.
Oh, no,
I ain't mean hold on, like stop talking.
Yeah, for some reason I thought that he was a part of that. Okay, so they're saying that that trade, he wasn't in the trade, by the way, Miles Turner. He wasn't a part of it, but they're saying that particular trade,
his future has been decided
effect on that. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the Pacers are unloading, basically. That's basically what they're doing.
Yeah, right.
They traded Karis LeVert to the Cavs, which I think is a great pickup for the Cavs, you know, given where they're at in the standings in the East right now. and they get Karis LeVert, a guy who can get his own shot, create his own. That I think that's big for the Cavs there. So
Yeah, I saw your tweet. I saw your tweet, and I
Yep.
would love to hear your thoughts on it. That you think that the Cavaliers with Karis LeVert make an Eastern Conference Finals?
Maybe. I didn't say definite.
Okay.
I didn't say definite.
Okay.
I said maybe.
So you don't think? So you think that they are? And I don't know who the 5 seed is, right? I know the Cavaliers are like a 4 seed right now.
Mm-hmm.
You think they are past a 1-round exit with this Karis LeVert deal?
I think they get out of the first round with that.
Okay.
I think that's a definite that they get out of the first round. I don't know that they can. I don't know that they can beat a Philadelphia or obviously Brooklyn if all their guys are back together. I guess we could talk about that too, but they're definitely not beating the Nets if all 3 of those guys are there. And the Heat, we can't forget about Miami. I think they're the 1 seed right now. I don't think they beat the Heat if they're healthy as well. So, but I do think they get out the first round because you're talking about basically going up against a Charlotte. Or and I know Boston's got Tatum and Brown, but they've kind of been up and down this season, and the Hawks are starting to come on a little bit. So and the run they made last year, maybe they got some experience there. But yeah, I think the Cavs. I think this is what they needed at least for the now. A guy that can create for himself and get his own shot, and a guy that's clutch. I mean, we saw it with the Nets before they got their, KD and Kyrie and stuff like that. We saw it, for a little bit there. So, I like this move for the Cavs. I really do.
Okay, well, I think you're giving him a little more credit, but yes, I do agree that they get out the first round. I don't know that I draw all of those inferences from Karis LeVert. Karis LeVert is a good player.
Yep.
Don't get that confused. Mm-hmm. Good player. I seen him play well in playoff games. I wouldn't necessarily call him clutch with the sample size that I've seen. Mm-hmm. But this is a good Cavaliers team already. This is definitely an upgrade. I think he gets you out the first round. I think that's where it ends for me. Mm-hmm. So I mean, yeah, more power to him. You try to build a team around it. I don't know exactly what their plans is as far as getting a team around Cleveland, because it's not like anybody.
Garland is good too. So
yeah.
We'll have to see how that pairing
how he develops.
Fits. Yep.
How he develops. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just
we gotta see how he develops. But I mean, it's not like we looking at Garland like he like that, but we're not looking at him like he not one of those rookies that came out and was up there out of the stratosphere type thing. Right. So we still don't know how he's going to show how he's going to develop. I'm just saying.
A big part of why they're winning though too. A big part of why they're winning.
Yeah. For certain. I'm just not ready to make any expectations for the Cleveland Cavaliers because Karis LeVert went to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They'll stay pat. Like I said, they'll stay pat. If you're a top 4 seed, you should get out of the first round. That type of thing.
And in this day and age of playing defense, they got the number 1 defense in the league. So that's something to hang their hat on. Even though everybody gives up 100+ points.
Yeah, I about to say there's no way you're getting me to hang my hat on that in 2022.
So, well, that's why I put the quote. Marks at this day and age of defense, which is really
right. But then you say hang your hat on it. I mean, they could be kicked out of the first round for that defense the same way they can get to the next round for that defense. Sure. So, like I said, for me, it's a good move. Mm-hmm. Let me start there. It's a good move, but it don't excite me. It don't move the needle for me. It's just a good move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel you.
And then we talked about. I guess there's no point in talking about Sacramento. Sacramento got Sabonis, but it's
I don't know what the hell them niggas is doing, but I don't care.
Well, essentially all they're doing is unloading. I mean, the Pacers are just unloading, so they'll get.
Yeah, we know what the Pacers are doing. I don't know what the Kings are doing. Because that's a dude I thought that Halliburton. Because I tell you what, because a lot of Knicks fans wanted to pick Halliburton in a draft. Instead, we got Obi Toppin that year. And a lot of cats was like, yo, like, we needed a point guard. Like, we could have had Halliburton on the squad, whatever. And Halliburton, I would say for the most part, has played well with Sacramento. So that's why it's a bit puzzling for me. Like, why wouldn't they just try to build the team around him? You know,
because the Kings have no interest in building a team. Because the Kings have no interest in building a team.
That is a fact, sir. man.
CJ McCollum goes to the Pelicans, man.
Yeah, that's a trade I don't get. Like, between those two teams, because what? The Blazers get Josh Hart back, right? I don't.
Josh Hart and
and some other players.
I think that's the mid. I forget the cat. He used to Saturansky. Like some other players.
Tomas, right.
Yeah, Saturansky used to play for the Wizards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just some random players. It's clear. It's clear that the Blazers are getting ready for the demise. They said they do that. They said they're doing that to try to build around Dame. But you don't get rid of that.
Who the hell going to Portland, bro?
Yeah, like what you think you're gonna get a top tier wing player to come play with Damian Lillard?
What do you think?
Nah.
Like, come on. And I ain't gonna front. I feel bad for Chauncey and Dame. I feel bad for him.
I feel bad for CJ McCollum.
Well, in what sense?
What is he going to do in New Orleans?
Oh, not a damn thing, but what was he going to do in Portland?
So they all in the same shit-ass boat.
Right, but that's what makes this trade puzzling for me because nobody has really moved any needle here. This is just
I'm just saying you should feel sorry for all parties involved is all my point is. CJ McCollum got traded and he just got traded to essentially the Blazers. He just got traded to the same team.
Well, here's why I don't feel bad for all parties. Number one, the Blazers, this is Chauncey's first season as head coach, so I'd like to see black coaches, thrive in the league, number one. Number two, we know what the Blazers are doing, right? Like we know exactly what's going on there, and they could talk all this. Well, we want to build another, we want to build around Dame. That's why we're unloading, some of these players because they sent Robert Covington out of there too. I forget where he went.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they moved him too. So it's like we know what y'all doing. The Pelicans, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what
you
they're doing.
You kind of do though.
Huh?
You kind of do though.
Really? I don't know what they're doing. Zion gonna play again?
That's what I'm saying. Like all they're really doing, all they're doing is bringing somebody over there to get you kind of excited, and then you just sit there and not be excited. They're not building a team. We know CJ. I ain't gonna say we know CJ McCollum ain't a number one, but we're pretty sure that CJ McCollum is not a number one guy, and Zion Wilson is not playing. And look, I get that he was on the run that he was on when he actually got to play, early in his career. But I never believed that Zion Williamson was going to be this great, wing player that could shoot and drive and dunk and do all the things that he was doing. I didn't believe he was going to be able to sustain that at that level for a career. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like you just doing shit to get shit off. Like, unfortunately, the Wizards are doing getting ready to do some of the same shit. Yeah. And the fact that the Wizards couldn't get Sabonis, and now Bradley Beal got
out for the year.
wrist injury that's got him out for the rest of the year. And again, I'm not saying he's not injured. I'm just saying,
what's your theory? What's your theory on that?
I'm saying that he don't want to be there no more. That's my theory. He don't want to be there no more. And you know what? Good for him. But also, he got to get this smoke, Trey.
He giving you
because for the past. not John Wall vibes, but he definitely got to get. He could never be John Wall in DC. But
No.
and I
I'm
say
not
that
talking from that
respectfully.
standpoint. I'm talking about not playing. I'm just talking from that standpoint.
Well,
John Wall collecting money
look,
in Houston to be on the bench.
man, Bradley Beal, like we kind of paid him like he was a number one guy, and at the end, and he's had moments. Let me not act like he hasn't had moments, but he's not a number one guy. He's not a number one guy. He need a number. He need to play with a number one guy.
That's okay. I mean, that's all right.
It is okay. It is okay.
Yeah.
But we kind of have been treating him for the past 3, maybe 4 years, maybe 5 years, like he was a number, like he was that guy, like we were in good hands, and that we just needed to build around him.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. That's not the case. He's not a number one guy.
Yeah, he was definitely the Wizards' number one guy. There's a difference, but yeah.
But I'm talking about, but you know I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about the number one.
I get it. But I always say this about players and teams, like with the wide receiver position in the NFL. There's your number one receiver, no matter where you put him, no matter what team you put him on, he's the number one receiver. And then you have a team that's got their number one guy. That's number one for them, not necessarily for anybody else. It's the same thing with Brad Beal.
In more situations than not, when you don't have that dude and you have our dude, you more likely not to go far with our dude. You got a better chance of getting where you try and go to with that dude.
Yeah, and there's not many of them. It's not many of them in the league, bro. If there was, the league would be more exciting for certain.
But I was gonna say that, but it's certainly the reason why we get Warriors, Brooklyn, Buck. Is the reason why it's those types of people in the finals. You know what I'm saying? That got that guy and that our guy.
So Giannis is that guy now?
You kind of got it. I mean, he got the chip now. You got I can't. If he didn't, I would be on that. I'd be on that same thing I was on if he didn't win it. But let's be clear, he won it now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can't sit there. I can't sit here and act like. Yeah, I can't sit here and pretend like he didn't win the chip.
Right.
Especially in the way he won it in the close. Especially the way he did it in the closeout game.
Yeah. No, I got you. I got you, bro. Oh, my bad. So I guess we can get to the Super Bowl and kind of put a bow on the show here.
Let me just give you a round of applause, man, because you've been digging for story. You've been digging for stories all episode, man, and you found these motherfucking stories this episode. You found them, because I didn't. I mean, I seen some of that stuff, but never in a million years that I think that we be talking about Stephen A. versus Tiki Barber.
Well, that story.
So kudos to you, brother.
That story was dug up long before this episode for certain. I mean, I had it in my notes, so it was gonna get talked about. It was certainly gonna be discussed because. The first time I saw it, I saw Stephen A. Little 20-second clip of the end of the show, and I was like, "Hold up, what the hell happened?" So I had to do all the digging and stuff, and yeah. Look, man, it's the end of basically the end of football season. We going to. You're
gonna be a fine ESPN. You're gonna be a fine. You're gonna be a fine journalist when BSTP becomes a network, man.
Look, in my head, it's a network already, bro. I just gotta.
I feel you.
Just gotta make the moves, man. Just gotta make the proper moves. That's all. So you and I think we're on the same page here. Rams are winning the bowl, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I could, offer up some analysis, but really for me, it's that simple. You're in your own building. The path was like, it was perfect. You didn't have to go to Green Bay. You didn't have to play the Cowboys, and you beat Tom Brady. Like, I mean, the path can't be perfect for you. So
I don't know about it being perfect, but I mean, I mean, they did beat the Super Bowl champions. I don't know about it being perfect.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I said. They beat Brady.
Okay, when you say perfect, I'm thinking you're saying like this was an easy path to the Super Bowl, and I was going to say I don't know if I can subscribe to that.
Well, after they beat Tom Brady, they was able to get that game at home against San Francisco. They was able to do that because, Green Bay couldn't handle their business. So, imagine if they had to go to Green Bay. I'm not sure I would have picked the Rams to beat Green Bay in that situation. So, I'm just saying that the bracket kind of fell right for them, to get to this point. And really,
okay. Well,
it's nothing.
You said perfect. I don't agree with the term perfect. Yeah, I hear you. I won't stretch it. I'm just saying I don't agree with the term perfect. But yeah, I agree with you that the Rams are definitely going to win the Super Bowl. I will say this though, I'm not sleep on Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, I believe, is going to show the hell out. I just think that when it comes down to it, and it's just what I always say, man. Stars shine, and OBJ, Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, Von Miller, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, the stars shine, man. And I think that's going to just be the case this Super Bowl at home when Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg is performing. That's just the way I see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much all LA vibes for me. I mean, it's the hometown boys at the halftime show, LA, the Rams, Showtime Rams, that is. I'm going to call them the Showtime Rams. Yeah, I mean, it just all makes perfect sense for me. And, and as much, respect as I'm going to give the Bengals, yeah, I it's the moment, man. And I know Burrow is unflappable, but, I'm going to keep bringing it up. Offensive line got to play decent the way they did against Kansas City. Even though Burrow helped them out on a few occasions, they gotta play decent the same way, because Donald and Floyd and Von Miller, that's one hell of a defensive line. So
yeah,
they gonna have to show up again. That's all I'll say to that.
Yep. Do you feel a way about Raheem Morris's comments about Jalen Ramsey? Basically, I mean, he basically said, I'm gonna put him, if whoever get hot, that's why I'm putting Jalen Ramsey, and I put Jalen Ramsey against any receiver in the NFL history, and I'll take what come with it.
Well, first off, I didn't hear that, so shout out to you for digging that up. Jalen Ramsey, I don't, because I don't want to feel like I'm hating on Jalen Ramsey here. I do think he's one of the better corners in the league, but you could burn Jalen Ramsey.
Who in your opinion? Anybody can get burned. It's NFL. Who you think better than Jalen Ramsey?
No, but I mean like you've seen like guys like week in, week out, get him a few times. So your question is what? Who do I think is in that like league of corners? Is that what you're asking me?
No. No. There are obviously cornerbacks in his realm. I'm saying Jalen Ramsey is the best cornerback in the league, and I don't think that's debatable.
You're saying he's the best in the league. He's the best corner in the league.
Yeah. He's the best corner in the league. I'm not saying he's, eons above anybody. I'm just saying when you're asking me to say who's number one, it's Jalen Ramsey.
Okay. Okay. I'm not prepared for that debate, but I'll take your word for it. I think there's some corners out there that deserve some love. Not saying that they should be over or under Jalen Ramsey, but. Just in relation to what you said about Raheem Morris's comments and saying that you could put him on any old, any receiver, whether they number ones, two, slot, whatever.
No. He did say that, but he more so he said he would take what came with it. He would put him on any receiver in NFL history.
Oh, If you're Raheem,
That's Michael Irvin.
right? If you're Raheem Morris, then yes, you have to put that out there.
You say that, right?
You have to say that. You have to put that out. Yeah,
Whether you believe it or not.
Yeah. Even if whether you've seen him get toasted a few times or not. Yeah, you better put him on a guy like Jamar Chase or T. Higgins, who I don't think we mentioned enough about T. Higgins the previous week, but that was sort of a T. Higgins game against Kansas City because of that coverage that Jamar Chase was attracting and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're gonna have to deal with him too, and Tyler Boyd for that matter. And Raheem Morris deserves a job, by the way. He deserves to be a head coach again in this league.
But Jalen Ramsey's the best. Yeah, obviously, you say that. You put your confidence in Jalen Ramsey. But let's entertain something. Would you the best receivers in the league, NFL history? I'm talking about history.
Yep.
How do you think he fares against, let's say, a Michael Irvin? Does he hold his own? Does he hold his own?
I think he holds his own. Now, how tall is Jalen Ramsey?
6'3", I want to say.
6'3", and Irvin was 6'4",
6'5", 6'4", something like that. Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because Michael, he had the range, and he also was going to body you up too. So, yeah, I think he holds his own. I think he does.
Jerry Rice, you think he holds his own? Yeah. Oh, I know.
Ramsey can get physical with you too. So, and he would have got physical with those guys. And Jerry Rice, I think he would do the same. He would
hold his own.
He would do the same. Yeah, I think he'd hold his own.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, especially in today's game. In today's game, you can defense. It's catered toward offenses. So,
right.
You're just going to get beat sometimes. It's just going to happen.
Right.
So,
Now Randy.
Yeah, Jalen.
Because I think Randy was like when Randy was in his prime, he was fast. I think for me that's the thing about Randy Moss. I don't know if he would have held his own against Randy Moss just because of the speed part, and I don't think Jalen Ramsey is as speedy as Randy Moss in his prime.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm talking Minnesota Randy Moss.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. That.
All right.
That,
So
that was a dude.
So I think so we both agree Rams win. MVP guesses.
Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp, because he's probably gonna catch another $160, a touchdown or two, something like that, right?
I don't know, man. I it's always easy for me to give it to the quarterback. It's always easy for me to do that. So
of course,
yeah, it's always easy for me to do that. I think I'm with you on Cooper Kupp just because of the year Cooper Kupp has had, and I just kind of, I'm at this point you're kind of rooting for him. But it's always easy to just give it to the quarterback, the guy who has the ball, and the focus is on him, and whether we like it or not, this is why he was bought to LA to get here and to win it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Matthew Stafford has one of those games. So, there's that. But I'm with you on Cooper Kupp.
And that's crazy, too. You mentioned Matt Stafford and the game he could have. I mean, he could throw for 360, 3 touchdowns. And the way Cooper Kupp plays, I mean, Matt Stafford might not win the MVP or the Super Bowl with those numbers. That's how crazy it is. I wouldn't mind seeing Odell Beckham win it, though, too. Like, if he caught, 8 balls, 3 touchdowns or something like that.
That would put his price back up.
Yeah,
that would definitely put his price back up.
It would. I wouldn't mind.
That would definitely put his price back up.
I wouldn't mind Odell Beckham, winning the MVP in the Super Bowl. Like that would be that. I mean, I don't know if the league would, want that because for some reason there's this narrative that, going back to Cleveland, it was his fault when we all know that Baker's some garbage at quarterback. Well, I want to say he's some garbage.
Do you think that's still the narrative? Do you think that's still the narrative after with the production he had in LA in such a short time?
I think it's somewhat is to a degree, because they're still asking questions about it at the Super Bowl. Like they're still asking, hey, what happened in Cleveland? Like, nigga, like, don't ask me no questions about Cleveland. I'm in LA now. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what you expect, right? Like, from the outside looking in, I would expect someone to ask questions about what happened with Baker and what happened with Cleveland. But if you're Odell Beckham's, like, nigga, I'm in the Super Bowl. Like, I don't want to hear nothing about no Baker Mayfield, nigga. Like, what y'all talking about? Yeah. So, I guess we gotta promote this now. This is the first ever Barbershop Sports Talk podcast giveaway. So we got, let's see what we got here. So we got Barbershop Sports Talk podcast hat right here. We got a Barbershop Sports Talk podcast keychain.
I ain't gonna hold you. I'm about to say, okay, as long as you knew.
I know. I'm gonna do another promo on this.
I'm about to say, take a pic, but take a picture of them. Take a picture of all of it together. Yeah,
absolutely, and that's the T-shirt right here, y'all. So we're gonna have a giveaway with these items for the Super Bowl. So if you guys on Instagram, make sure y'all follow us at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. I'm gonna do a video probably Friday afternoon, promoting the merchandise, and the giveaway is basically this, guys. Just predict who's going to win the Super Bowl and how many points are going to be scored by the winner, and whoever's closest to the final score at the end of Sunday night is going to get these items. So that's where we at.
Yes, sir.
It. And we're going to be doing,
you'll be the only ones besides us.
What's that?
I said they'll be the only ones that got it besides us.
Right. So, but we're gonna have a bunch of these throughout the year. So, be on the lookout for these opportunities, folks. And to the people that listen to us continuously and follow us on our social media and listen to us on these platforms, we really appreciate all the support and the attention. And this year is going to be a better year for us, bro. And, I don't know, I know you feel the same way, Maestro. We trying to do some big things, trying to get people engaged into the content. And I'm really excited about this giveaway.
Yes, sir. Let's see who's going to win.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's do it. Make sure y'all follow us also on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2, and also remember to click the like button on our Facebook page so you can catch us doing this on Facebook Live. Also, check us out on our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you got questions, comments about the show, just hit us up at barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. So, Maestro, this is it, man. Can't wait for Super Bowl Sunday, bro.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Y'all have a good week, and we'll be back with Super Bowl recap and a few other stuff. So, good night, folks. Peace.
Love.
Recording stopped.